I'm Melissa Cavill. It's Melissa Cavill. I am the executive director at Trillium House. Sure. Yeah. So for people who don't know anything about Trillium House, we are an adult foster care that's licensed for 8 beds, and we specialize in caring for people who are enrolled in hospice. So we really only accept residents here who are enrolled in hospice or require short-term care respite environment to stay here. We may care for someone here who has a medical situation that arises, like a knee surgery, or maybe someone else cares for someone and they need to get some kind of surgery or go somewhere. We can care for their loved one for a short defined period of time here. But primarily our mission is to care for those people who are enrolled in hospice and can no longer be at home or choose to not be at home for a reason. Eric and Dorothy and the Caregiver Incentive Project are intricately aligned with what we do here too. They come every week and have a meeting in our meeting room, and we collaborate on different projects whenever we can. So, well, I think it's vitally important. Having relationships with other providers in our community who are working towards the same thing helps us collaborate and gather ourselves together, especially in a rural environment like this where there's not a lot of competition, not a lot of resources. One of the great joys of living in our beautiful UP is we get to enjoy how gorgeous it is here, but sometimes we don't have the same access to resources that we might have in a more metropolitan area. So collaborating with partners that provide services and care and have the same kind of mission and goals helps us all know who's doing what and who we can refer to when we can't help, or who we might ask for help from when we need help. So it's a small community, and we need each other. I actually first became involved in caring for people when I was in nursing school. I'm a nurse by trade. So I worked on I didn't work there, but at first I didn't work there. I did like an internship on our rehab unit here in Marquette, and I really, really liked the way that all the different departments collaborated. And I was enamored with the fact that people who went there got better and went home, and you got time to get to know them and spend time with them and build a relationship with them. So I got really excited about that. And then when I graduated from nursing school, I went to work there. But then I ended up working as the director of case management at a hospital in Ishpeming, Bell Hospital. And when I was there, that's when I learned about Trillium House and what we do here. And when this position came open, I actually called a friend because I was worried that I wasn't going to have this resource for my patients at Bell. And she said, so I asked her, what's going on at Trillium House? And she said, why, are you going to apply for the job? And I said, no, I just want to know what's going on. She talked me into applying for the job while I was on the phone with her. I had sent in my resume before I hung up. So that's how I ended up here. And they called, and I moved into this position. But direct care, I think, in this environment and in our community is, I want to be able to provide the people who work here as direct care workers an opportunity to stay in their field, because it's such meaningful work and you just get such a reward out of it. But there's no real, it's difficult to find financial stability as a direct care worker. So I want to be able to provide the people who work here the opportunity to obtain those things through their work here. So we're working on different ways that we can build in levels of responsibility so that you can start as a direct care worker and move up in a leadership role within our organization. So that was a really long roundabout way of answering your question.
No.
So Erin started here when we opened as a direct care worker. She worked night shift, she worked day shift, she worked every shift. She's done everything from, literally everything here. If you want to know something about Trillium House, Erin probably knows it. So as her role developed here, and as the house itself developed, we were able to offer her more leadership responsibility. So she first became a lead care aide and became the person who our other care aides or our other care workers looked to for guidance and answers when they didn't know what to do or where something was. And then that role progressed into our house manager role. So now she's almost like operations manager. She's our HR. She does all of our admissions. She works closely with all of our families and residents and does all our training, scheduling. She runs, basically she runs the place. So, and now since Erin has developed into the house manager role, we've now been able to move another of our care aides who's been here a year into a lead care aide position. So we're hoping to have multiple lead care aide positions at some point. So that means that our direct care workers who are working on the floor, maybe part-time or maybe full-time, will have opportunities to be in more leadership roles and hence receive more leadership reimbursement or compensation, hopefully. So that's kind of what we're working on. It's important for the people who are in this role to obtain experience in this role. So, and that is because my passion and everybody's passion here is making sure that the patient receives the very best care. So people who have been doing this job for a long time, or even for a while, develop skills with that you don't have right away. So having the experience and the skills help with the relationship and the care that we deliver to the residents, and that's really our primary focus. But as an add-on to that, we have 2 hospice agencies that we work with here. And so because we are acting like we're caring for someone just as though they were in their home, so this is like a home environment for them, the hospice agencies come here and visit their residents, or they call them patients, we call them residents, but they'll come here and visit their patient, and they want to know that this group of people that work here are capable and trustworthy and able to take care of their patients, so they can feel confident when they come and when they leave that their patients are receiving the very best care. Also, families want to know that. So sometimes you have someone who might be considering the idea of coming to Trillium House. Maybe they're in the hospital right now and they have loved ones who live not here, Florida or Arizona or out of the area. Experience really helps them understand and have faith in the care that we provide. So we know we're doing an excellent job here, but having someone who's in the role for an extended period of time helps lend credibility to our families and our community partners, and to our better care for our patients or residents as well. But it also helps build confidence in the person who's delivering the care, because they know how to solve a problem when it comes up, or they know, oh, I've seen this before, or this is what I saw so-and-so do. So having longevity in that way is important as well. There's just so many ways, so many reasons why having someone who's been in the position for a while is important. I mean, just all the usual HR concerns, the cost of training someone or the cost of hiring, those are all built-in things that I feel are obvious, but maybe they're really not, because when you have direct care workers that are continually turning over, it's harder and harder for agencies to continue to provide those direct care workers to the people who need them, because they're always losing them. They come and they go, they come and they go, and hiring and training is expensive. Did you know it costs about $500 to run an ad on Indeed for a month? And I don't know, we might be getting a deal. I'm not even sure, but I think that's an outrageous amount of money, you know? So just to hire one person could cost an awful lot of money. And then when you have someone who they go to work at Target or Walmart or something because they get better benefits or better pay, it's really frustrating, because now you're losing someone who might be passionate about it, but the reward for them isn't there. You know, I have this healthcare background, and I feel like insurance rules the world in so many ways. I don't know if this is a solution or not, but I think that rolling some of this direct care work into what an insurance company might pay for might be helpful, because currently so many people believe that their insurance is going to pay for them to receive the care that they need at end of life in particular, and they're very surprised and shocked to find out that it does not. So someone's in the hospital, they find out they've got a life-limiting illness and they're going to be enrolled in hospice, and they can't go home because they don't have anyone to help them at home. So they have to come to a place like this or go to a nursing home or an assisted living facility, and insurance does not pay for that. So they're paying tens of thousands of dollars a month to receive custodial care. And I think maybe if insurance paid for some of that, it wouldn't be quite so surprising and challenging, and it would help direct care workers receive compensation that it would help the community be able to afford to compensate direct care workers for the work that they do. So insurance might be a solution, but I mean, insurance is already so overtaxed, and you know, I mean, I don't know how much you know about Medicare or Blue Cross Blue Shield or any of those things, but that's a big challenge. Mm-hmm. Other ways that state legislatures might advocate for direct care workers or elevating the direct care worker role might be to encourage benefits. Health insurance benefits are really difficult to obtain for direct care workers, because they're often on that line of just making too much to qualify for state benefits, but not making quite enough to pay for health insurance and the deductibles and all the things that go along with that. But that also lends or initiates a conversation about all the other costs of being a direct care worker. I mean, there's transportation and having a decent vehicle and having good shoes because you're standing on your feet 12 hours a day, and appropriate clothing for the role that you're playing. It's all expensive. So, I mean, maybe having stipends or supplements that could cover some of the costs of some of those things might be helpful. I don't know. There's just so it's lending legitimacy to the role by developing criteria and education programs, so that not only are people demonstrating that they have experience, but they also have tested out and demonstrated certain skills. So you know, when you've got someone coming into your home to help you, they have the skill to actually help you. I think sometimes with direct care workers, agencies are just hiring whoever they possibly can, or maybe there aren't any people who are providing direct care work, so now you've got a resident in their home hiring a neighbor kid or someone who goes to college, or you know, someone that somebody knows, and there's no screening or no way to make sure that they're not only do they have the skills, but they're not criminals and other things like that too. So I think as much as I don't know, I hesitate to ask government to be involved in things, but at the same time, I think it's important that we have resources in place for our communities, because that was one of the problems that I had when I was working as a case manager. People couldn't go home. They didn't have anyone to help them at home, and they needed help. And even if they had the money to hire someone, there was no one to hire. There isn't anybody. So then you're stuck. You have to go to a nursing home, or you get to come play someplace like our place if we have a room open. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I think that there are things that can be done. Maybe it's beyond my capacity to come up with good ideas, but when you are caring for someone who needs your help, they might be at their most vulnerable moment ever. And direct care workers ease people through that, because we're all going to get there. So being able to help someone at their most vulnerable moment it's an honor. It's not work, I mean, it is work, but it's also, I don't know, I just feel like the connection that direct care workers have with the people that they help is a very powerful connection. I feel like direct care work is important, and I'm passionate about it because I've done it. And when you do it, you're provided with an opportunity to help someone through their most vulnerable moment. And times like that are difficult for people, but direct care workers make it easy. Sometimes they make it fun. Sometimes they make it just like an every other day thing, when you're helping someone go to the bathroom or eat and they've never had to ask for that kind of help before. That's a moment when a direct care worker can make it okay. So you've got someone who's suffering. Sorry. You've got someone who's suffering, and you're able to help them through that. And that's why I'm passionate about direct care work, because it's an honor to be able to do that kind of work. First of all, I would suggest a marketing campaign. I would.
That's what we're working on.
Yeah. Yep. Because I suspect that the reality is there are millions of people who need a direct care worker and they cannot find one. Or maybe they need a few and there aren't any. So first of all, spotlighting the fact that there's such a shortage and that it's such important work. Because the next step then is going to be to encourage people to become direct care workers. And when you become a direct care worker, right now, it's kind of a minimum wage job with very little training. And I see that enhanced training programs with legitimate resources behind them, like university, or well-respected agencies within the community. Those are ways that you can lend credibility to direct care workers. But ultimately, it's going to be money, pay. For people to stay in a role as a direct care worker, you need to be able to pay them well, not just a living wage, but a thriving wage. And you need to be able to offer them benefits that help them take care of their family, like health insurance and life insurance and other things like that. So it's kind of a three-pronged attack: marketing, education, and pay. No, compensation, I guess. So, I mean, I haven't really talked much about Trillium House. I've talked a little bit about the role that we play in hiring and employing direct care workers, but Trillium House we underwent a strategic planning session last fall, about a year ago, and through input from our community and our founders and our board of directors and our employees and our volunteers and other community, family members of people who had been here or people who had been here, we discovered that we had really 4 major priorities. And one of those major priorities is developing a robust and fruitful employee environment. And so we as an agency have been working hard on that for a year now. We feel very passionately and very strongly that without our direct care workers and without our staff, we would just be a building. We're not, we provide very good care here, excellent care here. But without the people that we have, we couldn't do that. And so providing opportunities for our direct care workers and our employees to continue to work here for the long term is something that I'm very passionate about. And I want to make sure that we can keep the people that we have, and that not only do we keep the people we have, but we are an employer of choice in our area. So I didn't really talk much about that, but I think that's important for me to say, even if it's not, something that you use. But I think it's important for me to reiterate that having people who like their job and want to stay is important to me. My name is Melissa. I'm the director at Trillium House. I've been in direct care for about 10 years. And here at Trillium House, our direct care workers make this a place for people to live at the end of their life, rather than just a building.